Chop, it's time. We have to discuss
Something
zombies.
pays the price.
We have to talk about zombies.
Bravo 6. Going dark.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Going Dark, episode 2. We've made it to episode 2. I'm here with my boy Chopper. How we doing, Chopper?
I'm doing good, man. I can't believe we made it to episode 2. Like the first one, massive hit. You know what I'm saying? We're world famous now.
Yeah,
we had a great time. It was amazing. So like, you know, we have to bring it back.
I mean, honestly, episode 1. So I just want to break down a couple numbers real quick. The YouTube video got to like 14K, which is, I guess, it probably has an expiration date because we're talking about season 3, the hype of it, but really impressed with that. The short form stuff did pretty well, and the Spotify, I think we had 100 follows on our Spotify account. So
damn.
Listen,
okay.
I don't want to say we're the next Joe Rogan, but
we're on our way up. That's what we're
right
talking
there,
about, man.
We're right there.
Yeah, but it's good, and I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. So today's episode, we are going to be breaking down literally everything season 3, from multiplayer to zombies to Warzone to Easter eggs of what we thought we saw, and then future what we think Call of Duty might be headed. Because I got a couple points I want to make to you. We'll save those for later in the show. So
yeah, it's a little different just because we last episode we covered like leading up to season 3 of what we expected, but this is like, it's already out now. We've played it.
Yep.
You and I were actually on a creator call as well. We got additional information. So now that it's like out to the public, I think it makes for a bit of a interesting discussion, and yeah, I think we'll go from there on it.
So I'm going to open up this conversation. We'll go into topics first, but I saw this tweet yesterday, and we'll flash it on the screen. I had to share this with you. I don't know if you saw this. It didn't have that many likes. So the stats on average on Steam, again, this is probably applying to other console and everything as well. The lows on Steam were about 30 to 50,000 players. Peak was around 90 to 100K. Yesterday, we saw 130,000 people on Steam. So
wow.
30,000 people-ish, maybe more, installed the game again probably to play this Season 3 update. So, I don't know. It's almost like when we ask for stuff and they give it to us, like we want to play the game, you know?
It's almost like people come back to play new things. What I wonder, I think that's like huge actually, but what I wonder is like how that tracks compared to seasons before. Yeah. Like I wonder if season 1 and 2 had more or less players come back. I would imagine that this new one brought back a fair majority because it seems people are like, wow, they added a lot.
Yeah,
again,
they
maybe
did.
not for some people, but they added like, and from what Sledgehammer said, like they wanted to add so much to the game that it felt like you were playing a brand new experience again. I think that's what they were going for. And I mean, I feel like they brought it to the table this time. So with a pretty decent like resurgence in player count, I'm not surprised at all. I just wonder how that compares to other seasons. But I mean, 30K on average, additionally, is pretty good.
I don't have that stat, but I just feel like with this update, it finally felt like Call of Duty was doing something. It felt new. I know Rebirth isn't new, but it just felt like it was the first time where we were getting all this content. I guess I'm saying content, and you're a zombies guy. You're just like, what's this guy talking about, man?
I'm like,
this guy is off his rocker. But yeah, I don't know if we compared it last podcast to season 2 or season 3 or whatever of Modern Warfare 2, and just the amount of content difference. I'm a little bit blown away because you don't get this very often from Call of Duty. I feel like it's not covering this many bases, I feel like.
Yeah, and dare I say it, I feel the content offering of this season, barring zombies, almost felt like a DLC pack.
Yeah.
Where like, you know, occasionally like I think one of the main issues with the seasonal model is that the amount of content can be all over the place. And I think it's when this is a whole other discussion. We don't have to go down here, but when people say they want DLC back, I think a lot of it is they just want the consistency again.
Yep.
And like this felt like a DLC. If zombies had been as packed as everything else, that would have been like a proper DLC like expansion for Call of Duty, like a regular one. And I think that's a good place to like go for them. But for a seasonal update, like was very fresh feeling.
Yeah. Another tweet that I saw was this was the first time we had gotten 4 maps or whatever since I believe it was the Black Ops 4 or maybe even previous before that. So it's been a long time.
4 multiplayer map.
Yes.
Wait, I think. Dang. Wait, really?
So like,
yeah, because a few of them are in season, but like on launch.
It was season passes too that were because Black Ops had a season pass too, right? It was like not called a season pass, but yeah. So I think it was something like maybe they were talking about, I don't know, but I just saw, I'm like, wow, because it feels like that. It feels like forever since we've gotten that many multiplayer maps, and they were new. Almost one's a remake, but
yeah, I thought that was kind of funny as well. They're like, we remastered a map from Vanguard.
Well, and I have to do a quick plug. I got a video coming out soon about kind of how nostalgia kind of killed Call of Duty. It's kind of the title I'm having, and there hasn't been like maps besides like the BO2 and MW2 that have been remastered. I feel like ever, unless I'm missing something, but. Try to think of.
I know what you mean. There's a certain cutoff, like in the Call of Duty like cycle, where I think it was like anything beyond BO3, roughly. I know there's a couple exceptions, but like anything post BO3 never got remastered
at all, and it's been like 10 years now.
We've never seen any. Yeah, we've never seen like any BO4 maps or any like Cold War maps get remastered. It's everything like pre BO3.
Yep.
Well, and I get it because a lot of those, were like jetpack CODs, but even
but,
like World War II. Did they remake any World War II maps?
But even Advanced Warfare, I even Black Ops, like Fringe, Black Ops 3, hello?
That's true.
Advanced Warfare Detroit. I mean, these maps were banger.
Yeah,
and you didn't even
you
didn't even need jetpacks.
They had a COD 4 remake on AW.
Yes,
Pipeline?
Atlas Pipeline. Maybe it was Atlas Pipeline. But
something like that. But they remade COD 4 maps for additional movement, but they've not done anything from those advanced movement COD games into modern ones.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to leave this up to you. It's time to cover season 3. So what do you want to go into first? I have all my notes here, so we can choose one. I almost want to go zombies first because you're the zombies guy, and it could be a very short discussion.
It could be a short discussion, but I think I think what I want to do is start off with some positivity.
Okay.
And I want to hear your take on Warzone. I was actually streaming. I was watching you stream Rebirth the other day, and so I want to know what you think about the whole situation.
So I have a lot to say. I think one, Rebirth, them bringing back Rebirth Island was literally the best decision that they could possibly make. And I really, really don't understand how it took, I think it was 2022 they took that map away from us. So I'm not entirely sure what the process was of trying to get that map back. But I think part of those peak stats numbers were solely because Rebirth was back. I mean, every streamer and their mother, Swag, Tim the Tatman, Mercs, Doc, Z-Laner, they're all were playing Rebirth. So I think it's a positive because I'm a Resurgence guy. I think Call of Duty is going all in on Resurgence. With the ranked play, we won't cover too much ranked, but another season of ranked play. Fortune's Keep was last season. Now this season's Rebirth. I don't think the big map got any updates. If it did, I didn't see them. So I just think right now Call of Duty has finally learned they have the stats. Resurgence is the way to go. They have Ashika now. They have Vondel now. They have Rebirth now. I feel like I'm missing a map right now. Oh, and Fortune's Keep. So there's 4 maps on that one game mode, and we've gotten 4 total big maps like the entire lifespan of the game. So it's just of Warzone in total. So I'm excited to see what they do because I'm a big Resurgence guy. So yeah, it's sweaty as all get out though. If you're playing
That's
Rebirth,
what I've been hearing.
It is I am drenched in sweat after an hour. So everybody is playing that mode now. And I think on update days, I'm sure you know this, I feel like the matchmaking gets those elements, like how far it is from how low the KD is to the high, it's like this.
Yeah.
So, a higher KD player is playing all that.
I was seeing like people post their lobbies and it would be a lobby like literally full of streamers. Like there would be like nobody who's not a streamer in there. Which sounds crazy. The thing I wanted to ask you about is like we were on a creator call and they talked about like briefly what they were going to be doing with stuff, and they mentioned that like Rebirth was going to be getting like destruction at some point. So what they're going to be leaving it as classic Rebirth for the moment, but eventually they're going to be adding like environmental destruction to the map. So what do you think about that as somebody who like enjoys the original Rebirth experience?
I actually am. So at first, like everybody else, I'm a Call of Duty guy. So I'm going, all right, here we go. They're doing stuff to the map. They're changing it. So on Fortune's Keep, they kind of ruined it, I think, in my opinion. And I think that's the general consensus. And I think that's why they held back on this event. In the creator call, they said that it was like way higher of a rate that this event happened. And then they scaled it way back. They said that they did that like they planned it. I think it was because of how negative feedback was on Fortune's Keep of, I don't know if you follow that map, but there's just a big hole in the map now. And it's like, why do we have a big hole in the map? It's like, we don't need that. So I think they're kind of, covering their butts. So like, yeah, we know you guys don't like that. So we're going to bring it back. But so at first I didn't like it, but then I think the way that they're doing it, I'm okay with it, because apparently they're taking the lighthouse down and the water tower. And these are legit the two biggest spots that those campers like to sit and just snipe and don't move the entire game mode. Mm-hmm. So I feel like Sledgehammer just gets the population. I guess I don't know what population it is. I don't know if it's the sweats. I don't know what you call us. Like the casual, but a little bit more sweat. We're like, you shouldn't be able to camp there. Okay, we're going to take the tower down. So I would like to see how it plays out.
Like to me, it seemed like they were very much listening. They're like, hey, we're going to try out this destruction for a bit. And if you guys hate it, maybe we won't do it in the future. And then there's something about like the lighting changing. Like there would be different times of day. Yeah. And they said, if you like this, we can bring it in future iterations. If you don't like it, we will hold off.
Yeah.
So I like how they're very much like tuned in with community feedback. I think that's cool. But that was just interesting from my perspective to see how much they were listening to y'all about what you prefer and what you don't.
What do you from a more zombies and multiplayer guy? What do you do with Warzone updates? Like, do you care at all? Do you drop in and be like, all right, let's see what this is all about? Maybe I'll have fun in Resurgence. Or are you just like, nah, I've tried it. It ain't for me.
So it's complicated. I think in a way it feels like what I'm experiencing right now. I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2 and like getting back into it after a long time, and that is a challenge.
Yeah.
Only because like there is like you have to like take a college course on it, and this is very different. Warzone isn't quite the same thing. But my problem is like I haven't really played Warzone seriously since like
2020
Warzone 1. Yeah, for sure. And I feel like with every update that's come and gone over the years, all the new maps, all the way that the meta has always changed, I feel like I'm so far behind in knowledge and understanding the meta that I may as well not even interact with it. Even if I feel like I can still play well, like mechanically, I feel like I don't understand the systems of the game as well, like to compete this is not just survival anymore. This is like, I'm looking at the roadmap. I'm like, I don't even know what half of these things mean.
Yep.
And I would like to play Warzone more, I think, but it gets to a point where it becomes a little bit inaccessible for people who haven't been playing all the time. And same thing with Destiny. Like, so like as much as I would like to try out new Warzone stuff, it feels a little bit too daunting.
You're too gone. It's like
too overwhelming.
It's like a TV show where you're like, hey, start this TV show and it's 10 seasons. You're like,
or it'd be like asking just someone to start a TV show mid season 5. You'd be like,
yeah, I'm too gone. That's what I'm saying. Like a 10 season show and you hadn't even start. You're like, unless the first 2 episodes bang, I'm probably not going to invest that time. It's just
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I think we went back to this and we actually got a lot of comments from the first episode of making Warzone its own client, where this is Call of Duty Warzone, this is Call of Duty. Like I truly think that needs to happen at some point. I know they're trying to I feel like they're going the opposite of that way with the mobile and everything. They're trying to make it this big experience, but man, I just don't want Warzone to be this not loot simulator. I don't want it to be this, I'm going to play MW3, let me go rank my weapons up. All right, peace. I'm going over to Warzone. I think that's also ruining the multiplayer side of things, where they're playing the shoot houses, the shipments, and they're just trying to get in and out and I don't know.
I could talk about that for a while. I think with multiplayer being a Warzone like rank up or camo grind simulator, like I know there are people that will disagree with me on this, and that's okay. I think that it like takes all of when people say like arena shooters are dying, I think maps like Shipment and Shoot House do not help the situation. You can mentally check out and play those for hours and hours, and any of I'm not saying COD ever had the most like mechanically depthful gameplay, but you know, like COD 4, MW2, the maps were designed in a way where you still need to like kind of think about where you're going, your positioning. And then Shipment was like it was like a little treat, you know?
Yeah.
Like every once in a while you get this really like chaotic, wild thing, but making a 24/7 playlist of these maps and you just be able to get this on tap, I'm not sure is like the most healthy thing.
You're exactly right.
It just doesn't feel special when it comes up in the rotation anymore. Like Nuketown.
Nuketown felt so special back in the day. When you would get that, it was 20 votes. Somehow there was 20 votes. There was only 12 people in the lobby, but it was 20 votes. You're like,
everybody would be running that up.
Wants to play this map.
Even if it was going to win by a mile, everybody would be voting for it just because like, oh my God, this is the map. But you wouldn't get it every time.
Yep.
And that would force you to still participate in the other maps. But like, it felt cool when it came around. And I think we've also, like, multiplayer has really lost that, I think, too.
Yeah.
I know people like will beg them on Twitter for, you know, these 24/7 playlists to grind camos, but it's like, what's the point then?
Well,
like,
that was part of the thing too with multiplayer, was when you camo grinded. So I know a lot of people that camo grind, like there's plenty of YouTubers that do it as well. Part of the fun was it took you from November to August, because you had to go in there and you had to play Overgrown and you had to get close up shots. And you know what? You're only going to get 2 because people are all spread out. And it's like, now people get in. I mean, I have a buddy of mine. He said, I was done the camo grind by the second week of November. And I'm like,
people finish in like 4 days. I'm like, bro,
what are you supposed to do about that? So it's like, you know, it's like the developers are, I feel like there is a decent amount of content, but they're also hurting themselves, just like you said, where you can go into Shoot House. People use the long shot Shoot House propped up on that piece of wood, and they can finish an entire gun in one game. And it's like, that used to take so much longer. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that they're doing this.
I'm not so sure it is, because I think it also prevents people from playing the other content in the game, and then they complain that there's not that much content.
Yes.
But it's like, bro, you only play Shipment every day of your life. It's
and
like,
you camo grind. That's it. You're not playing objective or anything. You're playing hardpoint, and the game finishes 50 to 40. It's like, this goes to 250, guys. You got to get on the point. But
yeah, I know that they have a lot of pressure from the community to have these like small map playlists, but again, if it were up to me, the way I would do it is I would make those small chaotic maps feel like a treat. Yeah. Like they come around every so often, but you really enjoy them when they do.
Or even like a weekend. I just remember there being so like many weekend
the
stuff.
Nuketown 24/7 weekends, or like on Ghost they had the Strike 24/7. Strike is probably one of the only good maps in Ghost, and you damn know that everybody playing that game was like, yeah, we love Strike, so they're like, hey, you know, it's definitely our best map.
You're gonna get some hate for that one. Ghost, dude, Ghost has like this like weird cult fan base.
Cult following. Oh,
I
bro.
will call that
you're
game out
telling
being
me.
all absolutely terrible, and then they'll go, bro, Ghost campaign, one of the best. Search and Destroy on Ghost, some of the best, which I will agree. Search on Ghost was pretty good. There was like Freight, Strike, obviously, Strike Zone, Octane. There was like 5. I would say there was like 4 or 5 solid maps in that game, or like solid. I don't know, solid, goodish, solid. I don't know, but yeah, that game, that was a side.
It definitely has a cult following.
Yeah, you don't say Ghost is bad. You get attacked.
My review on Ghost has like almost 1 million views, and if you look at the comments, you would think that Ghost is the best Call of Duty ever.
Yep.
It's just people being like, "Dude, this game was so good."
And where's Ghost? We'll do a podcast on that. But
we could do a whole podcast on
Ghost
that,
to. I would be okay with it happening now at this point. We've seen the Modern Warfares play out, but I feel like we're going off the rails. Let me hone it back in. So yeah, the multiplayer weekends, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, the point is like we have these maps that people basically never play because they're just very obsessed with like the really small maps, and they don't even participate in anything else.
Yep.
And I think there is like a fix for that, but that is one of the things they got to take a look at, I think, as well.
Yeah. So I mean, Warzone, we've covered it. I feel like Warzone's one of those things where my summary is bring back. People have been begging for Rebirth Island. People have been begging for Verdansk. If you want player base to come back, bring back Rebirth Island, bring back Verdansk, and then slowly mix in the guns. The Kar 98 apparently got leaked in the game files. You just have to give people what they want. You know what I mean? At this point, I think with the COD community, yes, give us new stuff, but like nostalgia just hits. So for some reason, but we've talked about this. I am very nervously watching. Will Rebirth play the same? Will it hit the same? In 2 weeks, will we be like, all right, give us a rotation. Let's go back to Vondel and Ashik Island, because the map was great, but now it's 4-stack heaven and people playing like they're scared and they forget it's Resurgence. I'm going to call out a couple people because, listen, guys, I have to say one thing. I'm sorry. Resurgence is a game mode where you get to respawn. I'm going to go full screen on this one. Resurgence is a game mode where you get to respawn. So when you play together as a team, I get that near the end of the game. But in the beginning, I always feel like you should go out and try to get kills, try to get better, get your gunplay up, and you get to die and come back. But if you're all 4 together and there's a sweat or there's another team that's better than you, if you all die, you get wiped. But if you were all individually in a different spot of the map, you die, you got 3 other people in all sorts of areas. That's what happened with Rebirth. It got too stacky in quads. And so now solos seems like the only map or like only mode that's like playable, in my opinion. But I don't know. That's my rant.
Makes sense. Yeah,
that's going to get me some hate too, but it's okay.
You're like, that's going to get me cooked. But yeah, I've been interested in watching people's response to like Rebirth coming back. And even a friend of mine at the gym was like, he was asking me if I still play video games. Like, yeah, of course I do. And I was like, are you playing? He's like, no, they piss me off these days. He's like, but I heard Rebirth's coming back. He's like, I might get back on for that.
You should have seen my DMs. And I'm not flexing my DMs, but I was a big Rebirth guy a couple years ago. And I mean, I had so many people going, hey, you coming back? You coming back? You coming back? And I'm like, it just shows you that even the casual heard about it. That was probably playing Helldivers or Fortnite or whatever. Like, oh, like, you know what I mean? The ears kind of.
That's how I knew. Yeah.
Yes.
Same thing with you.
That's how you know. So
it definitely made their ears perk up a bit. And you're like, okay, well, they got their attention.
So I think it's like you said, let's talk about positive. I think that's a positive. Bring back Verdansk, bring back the car, give us nostalgia. But I don't mind the Vondels and all that. I appreciate the effort. Like, I think the Warzone 2 map, El Mazrah, should come back because I think that was a great map, but it just was on a terrible engine. So I think you give us that map with MW3 movement and people would like the big map more. I don't think the Urzikstan clicked like they wanted it to. I think they went too similar to Verdansk, but it wasn't Verdansk. You know, they're like,
I did play that
2.0.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't the biggest fan. I hear you on that.
So let's move to multiplayer, because I really feel like we got another positive trip here. New maps, new modes, new guns. I mean, I'm saying new a lot. I'm saying new more than I have in a long, long time. So
this is like the first update that got me back on to play multiplayer. Like,
yes,
for a season. Well,
yes.
It's like when a new update usually comes out for Call of Duty, the first thing I go to is zombies, because new things.
Yeah,
not the case here. So I'm like, well, what am I gonna play? I want to check out the new gun, so I'm gonna go play MP. I played all of the MP maps except I think Grow House. I don't think I played that one.
I didn't play that one either.
And I don't know if I played Checkpoint. I don't think I did. But I played everything else, and they're fun. I've said it before. I think Sledgehammer actually has very good map design, and I think they can make a multiplayer that feels fast-paced and fun. They haven't lost that touch. I really like Star. I think that's my favorite map in the DLC. It feels like an Advanced Warfare map, like visually.
Yeah.
But of course, it plays with this new Modern Warfare movement. Speaking of AW, of course, like the Moors in the game. I thought the BAL 27 was going to be there at launch.
I have that on my notes.
I misheard.
I have that on my notes.
Damn it. I was sad. That was the only thing I wanted to use from like, oh, it's coming in the reloaded update. But I had a lot of fun with the MP maps. I was very impressed.
My number one note, we are positive. My number one note was disappointed BAL was coming mid-season. Thought it was coming day one. So
so true.
I was the biggest AW fan. I really loved that game. And BAL 27 for me, when I heard that, I was like, holy crap, like this is gonna be so fun. And then it was like the rug got pulled under me. I'm like, oh no, like it's not there. But I guess it looks, something to look forward to. But I wish they both would have been there on launch. But the Moors, I thought the Moors felt great. And just a quick going back to Rebirth, it isn't on the Rebirth map as well, and it's like a charge version. So it's pretty cool. Like I like how it was Advanced Warfare, but it's still no, it didn't feel very modern. Like it kind of kept it a little bit, like it wasn't so wild that you're like, oh boy, we're actually it did. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't feel like a Modern Warfare. It was, but it felt a little bit different to me than the Advanced Warfare one. Did it to you? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think a big part of that, and I wonder how people would feel about this. I'm not sure if they could do it with their new engine, but I wonder how it would be if they just like kept the original gun sounds for, these older weapons. Cause I think a big part of the weapon feeling different is the sound design.
Yeah.
And the Moors sounds different for sure.
Well, that's going to be an Advanced Warfare pack, audio pack for $10.
Yeah. Excuse me, what they're going to do is they're going to be like, hey, we're releasing the BAL 27 and it'll sound different, but you can spend extra money and it'll sound like the old one.
Get those COD points, baby. What? Get them ready. Get that credit card ready.
You got me.
Get mom's credit card ready.
I love the BAL 27. I love that original sound, so I hope that doesn't change too much. But that, oh my God, this is another thing too. But I feel with every gun that they bring back or remaster, maybe I'm wrong, maybe people would disagree, I feel like the sounds get progressively worse. And the main reason I say that is like the thing off the top of my head is the sound of the starting pistol in BO1 is perfect. And in BO2, a little bit less so. And BO3, nah. Like the 1911 in BO3, so it sounds like an airsoft gun.
Yeah.
But like, bro, it's like y'all had the perfect sound in BO1. And they have just gotten progressively like less enjoyable. And I don't think that's nostalgia, just because I will play those games and I'll be like, I just prefer this.
Yeah. Well, and I think to go to your point, I really like the fact, I see this, multiple people say this. It feels like the guns nowadays, I guess Modern Warfare 19 was really the one that felt unique. I think there was so much effort put into Modern Warfare 19 from a sound design, gameplay design, all that stuff. And I really think it shows. There were some decisions that I didn't like, but it feels like in Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 2, these guns just either look the same or feel the same or sound the same. Like, it doesn't help that there's the Lockman sub and the Lockman sub AR and then ISO Hemlock and the ISO like, there's not enough difference in the guns. I feel like MW19, you could tell MP5 to MP7. You could tell Grau to M4. Like, these were different guns and you knew it. And I think with MW3 is it's kind of very similar, like the Ram 7 and the Ram 9. When you use them, it's like, are these the same gun? Are they like a division of the same? I don't know. So I think
Pretty
there
much
needs to
every
be more
AR and MW3 sounds like the same to me.
more identity.
Almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me some more identity with these guns, and like you said, with the Black Ops 1, there was identity in those games and those guns. And I don't know if I don't know what happened. I don't know if everything's too stretched thin where like that's the least of their worries, but that makes a game sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It's the little things like that. Like Call of Duty, I think, I mean, not just Call of Duty, pretty much every AAA title in the last like 5-10 years has been like ultra concerned with like player retention and all this content, everything, but they're forgetting the little details that make a game like stick with us.
Yeah.
Or make them iconic, you know. And I'm not saying like I'm not gonna die on the hill of like gun sounds, but it's one of those tiny things that I think about and I appreciate when they think about as well.
When gun sounds goes along with like characters. Like think about the voice actors, and even it feels like MW19 was that game that brought us back to all that, and then it just went downhill. Like I just remember the World at War guy, the actors. I mean, you got the guy from Dark Knight, Gary Oldman's in there, and he's just screaming. He's Victor Reznov, right?
Reznov, yeah. His performance is so good.
It's like they were hiring these people that were in movies and shows, and I don't know if they do that now or if it's more like these. I know they
do that now.
They do it now, but is it not like the same? What am I trying to say? Like it's like. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's not like it's not a Gary Oldman, you know, it's somebody that's maybe trying to get their foot in the door or something rather than a guy that was on Batman.
Yeah. And this is like, there could be a whole episode about this and maybe we will, y'all can let us know if you want to hear about this, but my personal opinion is Call of Duty, and I talked about this in my MW3 review, they're particularly in the campaign, they're very much straying away from using the storytelling techniques that make the medium of video games unique.
Yeah.
They're trying to make their game more like movies and TV as time goes on. And I think that is one of the most like harmful things that they could do to their storytelling experience, and they're losing the magic of like video games.
Yeah.
And like, you know, in favor of trying to make something more cinematic. I'm not saying you can't make a game cinematic and it work, but they're sacrificing potentially cool gameplay stuff for, you know, these ultra glossy like cinematic cutscenes that ultimately you're going to forget about.
Yeah.
So I'm not really a big fan of that, but I could talk about that for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, that'll definitely be 100% an episode. But I mean, for multiplayer too, I know I didn't really say much about the maps, but I think you're exactly right. Like Sledgehammer does make good maps. I mean, this is the first time we're seeing I feel like they haven't missed on the Modern Warfare 3 maps, honestly. Like obviously the first 12 or whatever, 14, 16 are all Modern Warfare 2. So yeah, that's not really them, but
sure.
But
there's not like a Euphrates Bridge or whatever in this game.
They haven't thrown that. And I feel like these maps, just like you said, it felt like Advanced Warfare-ish, BO2-ish, like I don't know when these developers also are going to learn that, like, we do like seeing a bright, colorful, vibrant map. There's a reason why the Black Ops series is so loved because, I mean, just go through the Black Ops 3 maps. They are some of the most vibrant maps, and I can almost name you every single one off the rip just because of the memories of, like, how nice they were to look at. Even, like, a Fringe where it's kind of sandy and kind of tan, it's still blue sky and bright red barn, and like, so I think they're doing a good job.
Color palette, but Sledgehammer has always had like
in the middle. I feel like they're like Infinity Ward's like we're going like look at this
ultra
mud,
realistic and
and then
gritty.
Sledgehammer's middle, and then Treyarch's like we don't care what's going on.
But
we're gonna give you the cartoon.
Like that's their thing. And again, good. I hope they continue to do that. I don't want them to lose that cartoony look to their maps.
Yes.
That's what like will make the games feel different. But I like Sledgehammer's map aesthetic and design a lot. There's something to be said for like Infinity Ward's realistic, like gritty look, but generally I prefer like a Treyarch or a Sledge for sure.
So before we get to zombies, let me bring something up. I actually had this at the end, but I want to talk about it now because I guess it applies to zombies, but not as much as like multiplayer and Warzone. Is I don't know if you noticed, but they announced a bunch of skins and in the battle pass.
Yeah,
they are going off the rocker, and at this point, I feel like this is just a trend for Sledgehammer. Because if you look at Advanced Warfare, they did the same thing. It was kind of XOE, modern. And then all of a sudden, you got a clown head. You got a gingerbread head.
The octopus.
You got the octopus. And then World War II, we're taking this thing so serious. You can't even sprint in our games or whatever it was. It was like unlimited sprint. And then all of a sudden, there's a dude with a crow mask doing jumping jacks in the final
for sure.
Scoreboard. And then Sledgehammer or Vanguard was the same thing. It was, we're going to take it a little more serious, not as serious as World War II, but this is a World War II game. And then by the end, you're Snoop Dogg with an EM1 laser, and you're going, I guess we're just. So I think Sledgehammer just hits a point. Call of Duty must just have this like, hey, keep it chill for 3 months, and then once 3 months is over, you just do whatever in the world you want. And all of a sudden it's Cheech and Chong. It's a sloth.
Godzilla.
It's a Godzilla. It's Snoop Dogg with an actual dog. So I want to know your thoughts. Like, what is that? It's kind of the discussion we had where it's like, it kind of, the era is lost.
Yeah.
And the theme is lost, but
that tends to happen. When I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, they even did the same thing with like AW. Yeah. AW was fairly consistent or like serious like initially, but then it did get crazy eventually.
Yeah.
BO3 kind of the same thing, honestly. I can't really think of a Call of Duty game that eventually didn't go off the rails in that way. You could say partly that, yeah, it does kind of just like strip its identity away, and I think that is a part of it. The other side of it, though, and I'm not sure if this is actually the case because I don't know who's mandating this, but you could say that it's good because it allows the developers just to do whatever they want creatively.
Yeah.
And I'm hopefully that's the case. I would not want this to be like a top-down mandate. You have to make Cheech and Chong or your job is on the line. Yeah. Like, I don't want them to feel like they're forced to make these crazy things. But if they're having fun with it, sure. But I just think it does come with a bit of a drawback. You could say that, like, you want the ultra realism, but COD has also never been like a military sim.
No.
It really hasn't.
No.
I don't buy the argument. It literally never has, that it's ever been this ultra serious, like, mil sim game. Maybe it's been a little bit more on the rails at points, but it's never been, like, hardcore about it. But I don't really mind the skin situation. I've kind of accepted it at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think it really harms like your enjoyment of the game, especially if just other people are using them. It does look silly at times to like see those things on the roadmap, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think that it kind of is just par for the course now. So I think they're going to continue to keep doing it.
I was going to say, it is what it is. I think the money being made, you know what I mean? I can't imagine how much they make from the bunny rabbit skin or anything. Just, I mean, what's a skin that you feel like you've seen? This is not on my notes, but I was like, what's a skin that you feel like you've seen so much and it was solely in the store? You know, like, I feel like bunny rabbit is definitely one of them for me.
I don't know, and this is like more of a Warzone thing, but like I remember just from my own view, my corner of the internet, the rose skin in Warzone was like, I remember it was broken, and I'm pretty sure that was a store thing.
That was me. I bought that for sure.
Nice.
I think it was a battle pass.
I would have too, bro. If I was playing, okay, it was a battle
pass thing, but which is it's a store.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like if that will give you like a substantial in-game advantage, like people are gonna pay for that for sure.
Dude, that was wild. That and then the 100 Thieves skin when it came out in MW2. Yeah.
Oh, I had that too.
Yeah, you went there and bought it. Yeah. Hey, this podcast is sponsored by Boston Breach. You better not be rocking any 100 Thieves gear, but That
That's
is
so
just
funny.
a topic of discussion. We gotta
For
put
sure,
it out
sure,
there.
sure, sure.
Um,
But yeah, but any skin that would like give somebody a relative in-game advantage is by far going to be like sought after.
yeah.
But I don't know. I've never been one of those people that buys every skin that comes out.
I-
I just like, you know,
I
ma-
can't tell you the last skin I bought, to be honest.
Me too. I think I've maybe bought like 3 or 4 skins in Call of Duty ever in my life.
I just, for
Maybe.
me, I don't see the point of buying a skin in a first person shooter. It hasn't clicked with me yet. I know there's probably some sort of tie-in, but for me, I'm just like, I don't see it. I would rather have these banger camos and banger blueprints and gun whatchamacallits and just build from there. And I don't know. I feel like the skins are cool. Like I know plenty of people buy them, but it's just not my thing. Also,
I guess we should clarify, like a skin. I've bought skins for the camo, and maybe it's come with an operator, but I don't buy operators for themselves outright usually. I bought one in Zombies that was like a Samantha Maxis, which was cool, but it also came with a camo that I liked. But yeah, otherwise I'm not just buying the skins because you really don't see them.
So hear me out for a second. I got a little strategy here.
For sure.
I don't buy skins, number one, because I don't see them. But number two, what do you think about when you see a Rose skin, Hunter Thief skin, Breach skin, sweaty skin? You think, wow, that dude's a sweat, But if I'm running around in the season 1 generic soldier character, you're going,
that's me,
oh, that's fresh meat right there. Let's go get him.
Yeah, that's me.
And then you give them a little bit of the Reddit did to do, and you take them out and send them back to the lobby, and then you're feeling good about yourself.
It almost
it's a little
feels
prank.
cooler that way. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little prank. So that was my little 200 IQ play that I like to do with the
no,
Vault.
dude, I'm glad you said that because I'm for sure the same. Like I just use the regular like default Milsim guy in MW3, and I'm like, bro, that's my boy right there. Like y'all can be rocking Cheech and Chong, but still you're gonna get cooked.
Yes, sir.
I just think it's funny.
So multiplayer. Overall,
it's a W.
It's a W. It's a W. This is, again, we are not paid Activision hashtag ambassadors. So I really am glad that we're able to put our real opinions into this, and I feel like we've been doing a good job.
By the way, I pulled up here and your Bentley was double parked.
It was. You know what? Let me make a call real quick. Let me call somebody.
You gotta. Yeah,
for
sure.
So
Activision checks going crazy.
The multiplayer's a W. The Warzone, I think, is a W. We'll see how both of them play in a couple weeks. But now, Chop, it's time. We have to discuss.
There is always a but.
There is we have to discuss zombies.
Pays the price.
We have to talk about zombies. If you guys didn't know, in the creator call that we were in, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like Treyarch is fully gone from zombies. They are now on their game, which is, we don't know what the game's called. It's not called, I don't think it's called Gulf War, is it? Yeah, it's called Gulf War. Anyway, they're gone. I can't even, like I said, I skip over it on the thing. So why don't you just catch us up? Was there any updates? Was there anything of while? What's the situation?
So yeah, for sure. There's a couple things to catch up on, but before I get to what is going in MWZ, I think what we learned after the call was apparently DMZ in MW2 got abandoned at some point. Like they just stopped updating it, and that was because no other studio wanted to work on it apparently, and IW went to go work on their next game, so they just kind of left it hanging. And so then they brought in Treyarch to work on this zombie mode for MW3, and I think they did it basically just to like help justify the game, and they got Treyarch to make the map itself and then like season 1. And after that, then they pulled Treyarch off to go work on their game, and they gave us like High Moon or Sledgehammer or whoever, but it's like they can never sit down and commit to a project. They're always being pulled off to go work on the next one and then the next one. But it's like MWZ's having the same fate as DMZ. So with that in mind, we did learn on the creator call that Treyarch is like fully done with this, which again sucks for me because it's like, okay, the mode is
see
dead
you in October.
yeah, for sure. But at the same time, I want them to be working on their new game. I want them to put their efforts and time into the next like real zombies mode. I get it. I'm willing to accept the fact that there's going to be nothing for this mode from here on out. But it's just, I don't know. It's kind of annoying that that's the case. But anyways, things that we got in the call that we did not get in the roadmap were that they're making some pretty like big changes to stuff. They're adding, they're basically doubling the acquisition stash. So you can hold like double the amount of items in your inventory, like, you know, pre-game, which is really good. And then they're also doing a system where the more essence or like points you extract with in game, it will apply some kind of cooldown to your schematics, which is, I think that's what we all wanted. I wouldn't do it with points. I don't know exactly why they went that direction. But I guess it's better than nothing. The thing is like from here on out, it's just going to be, we know what the formula is. There's going to be cutscene, Dark Aether Rift, and some schematics. And the schematics are, to be honest, they're not great. They feel very like bare bones.
Yeah. So I have one note on zombies on my
what do you got?
I think this is a great thing because I know from a perspective of a zombies player, I want the Treyarch off zombies. I wanted Treyarch off zombies back in November. You know, like
sure.
I want this next game to be so peak Call of Duty that we talk about it like most people talk about MW19. You know, how it brought so many people back and the zombies was banger and the multiplayer with the campaign, everything was perfect. And it was like, just stop dipping your toes in this stuff that you guys know you're gonna get rid of. Like, just like you said, DMZ's gone. This is gonna be gone. Like, I would rather them just say that, honestly. Like, don't just get. I would be insulted if I got a cutscene for new multiplayer. Hey guys, we got a new cutscene. Check this out. It's like, what? So,
dude, that's so funny.
Just come out and say like, hey, we're done with zombies. Sorry, like, it's just gonna be what it is for the time being. But don't worry, we got something cooking for you.
Back to cook.
Yeah. So it's like, then you're like, okay, I appreciate the words, and then now I'm excited at the same time.
They actually kind of did that. I don't know if you remember this, but it was during Vanguard's life cycle, shortly after the game came out, maybe like a few months, but it was Treyarch basically saying, hey, we heard your feedback and we know y'all hate this mode. So we're going to go back into the shadows and redevelop the game from the ground up. So they, during Vanguard, there was like a span of maybe 4 or 5 updates, like big updates that had no content for nothing. Literally nothing. Because they were just redesigning the game from the ground up. I get they don't have to do that here, but again, to your point, like, you'd be insulted if they were, you know, like advertising a cutscene for MP or something like that. Like,
and like bringing back a one remastered map, and you're like, you didn't do anything.
Like, come on,
you didn't do anything.
I feel like at this point, I would almost, maybe not, maybe I only half mean this, but like, I would almost rather them just like not update zombies at all. And just like let it be quiet for a while so that it builds up more excitement and momentum for when Treyarch, when are they going to say something, you know, like, when are we going to hear about the next game? And like, people are, you know, the murmurings about zombies would not be, we got some more mid-ass content for season or for MWZ. It would be, oh, they're cooking for 2024. I wonder what's up next. Like, at some point, I think I'd rather them just like call it. If they're gonna take Treyarch off it and they're not gonna do anything big with it from here on out, I'd rather them just kind of maybe put it away. And that's the other thing too. No, like, they're not gonna be adding any new perks or enemy types or probably even like a real main Easter egg. Like, the game is the game from here on out, and until literally their next game, nothing substantial is gonna change. I'd almost rather them just go radio silent for a while, maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's not looking too good.
It's kind of, you know, I compare a lot of stuff to Star Wars, and on the Star Wars stuff we compare stuff to COD, but it's like there was like this you know, time period now where in Star Wars movies we're kind of itching for news, because it's like we haven't had a movie in a while. And it's like the same thought you just said was, just go radio silent, and then come August where you start getting teased, you're gonna be like, holy crap, I'm so excited for this, because we haven't heard anything in so long.
And that was like the Treyarch thing too. Like, their whole at least for a while, maybe not so much now, but their whole like aura around zombies was like very enigmatic and mysterious and all that. And you would never know when they're going to come out and say something. I get it's a bit different now with their current like business plan, but I don't know. I just think that like if they wanted to like make a statement, be like Treyarch's back, I would go quiet on zombies. And obviously it would feel annoying in the moment to not have anything to play or anything new for zombie fans, but like, bro, when they come back, they'd be back. Like,
yeah. Now
that'd be huge.
This is a quick question. I don't know if this is the proper one. We could probably do this in another podcast, but
sure.
With the zombies mode, this is from a very casual zombies fan. Do you think that there's a way to capture a person like me? Because I used to play World at War zombies, Black Ops 1 zombies, Black Ops 2, and then it kind of hit a point where it became too much story and Easter egg and all this stuff for me to follow. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, it was also getting kind of boring doing the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So is there an evolution to this mode where, you know, we can bring back I would love to play zombies again, but I know it's not as fun as it once was for me. And then hearing somebody like you who's a diehard be like, it's not that good either. It's like, why would I ever return to that mode, you know?
Yeah, it definitely depends on what you want. To your point, I would say, in order to bring casuals back, that is actually what I think they tried to do with Cold War. I don't know how much zombies you played on.
I played Cold War Zombies. The first map was like the remake-ish kind of the first.
Yeah, it was like a remake, but honestly, not really. It's totally different than Nocturne Toten. But that
I enjoyed that.
Cold War.
I enjoyed that
for sure, and I think that was them trying to reach the casual audience back again. And then, you know, in my corner of the internet, there's people in the zombies community, like diehards, that are like, they made Cold War too easy. You know, the game is like too accessible to casuals. Like that became the other complaint. I do think anybody being able to play zombies is a great thing. I think zombies thrives when it has like a very low barrier to entry, meaning anybody can jump on and play.
Yeah.
Your grandma can pick up a controller and kill zombies, right?
Yeah.
But it also has like a really high skill ceiling of like, there are crazy like Easter eggs and boss fights and things that you can do if you know what you're doing, but it has that like gradient of easy to get into, but really hard to master.
Yeah.
I would prefer if their design philosophy is like around that. I think Cold War was very easy to get into.
Yeah.
Very easy for casuals, but it didn't quite go as far with the like skill ceiling that it could have.
Yeah.
And then MWZ is not really comparable. It's very different, but in a way, it's very low barrier to entry. Anybody can jump in and play. I think, well, I mean, we'll see, but I think they have a chance to have like a big gradient that will satisfy casual and like hardcore zombie people.
I really liked Cold War Zombies. The first map, I played the first map a bunch. Was that the first time that they introduced like you could get out of there, exfil?
Yes.
So yeah. I didn't mind that, actually. I don't know why the purpose of that is, but I was like, okay.
I could tell you about that in just
okay.
a second. Yeah.
It just gave me a reason to like the game ended, you know, instead of dying to a zombie on round 3000, which I know that you don't ever get to that, but like it was like, okay, let's go. Maybe there's some sort of thing where you can add where you can get some, and this could already have happened. This is casual perspective here. Maybe there's a some sort of reward that you can get, and you got to exfil with it or survive till level 30. But then why wouldn't you just exfil, I guess? You know, I don't know. I don't know if that's
so there no, that's perfect. Like Cold War had a system, and a lot of people have been talking about it in relation to Gulf War 2024. And we'll see like what they do with it. But there was a system where everything had an upgrade tree in Cold War, like your perks, your like specialist. They had this system of like Ethereum crystals, and you would earn them by surviving to a certain round or whatever. And I actually don't remember if you had to exfil with them or not to keep them. I think you could just die, and if you earn them, you'd still keep them. I could be wrong. But anyways, so that was like the reason basically to have that, is like you would earn these crystals and like apply them to your upgrade trees. And I won't go into that whole system. I'm not a big fan of it for other reasons, but the whole thing with the exfil, in Outbreak, I don't know if you played any of that. That was like their open world thing.
I tried it. I didn't. It
Sure.
made me mad that was supposed to be the Warzone map or Blackout 2 map. I believe
The fire team map.
That made me mad, so I didn't want to play it. I'm like, you
That's
could
fair.
have given us Blackout 2 and instead you gave us this.
I actually like Outbreak. It's
Okay.
not my favorite thing in the world, but I like it. But I hear you on that. The thing I was gonna say is the whole thing with exfilling was definitely weird, but as far as I know, Cold War Zombies was supposed to be like an extraction shooter. Or like an extraction mode.
Okay.
And especially Outbreak. Outbreak, with the current situation of MWZ where you extract with items, they wanted to do that with Outbreak and maybe even round-based maps to an extent, but they didn't quite go as far with it, so they still have this leftover, you can get out on a helicopter, but it doesn't really amount to anything. And that's because I think they wanted it to be more of an extraction mode. It just never really got there. So I don't know if they're gonna continue to do that in the next game. I kind of hope they don't do it for round-based maps, but if they do, alongside an MWZ/Outbreak style mode, I think that's fine. But yeah, it did seem a little weird now to place in round-based maps, but it did have a purpose, I guess, with those Ethereum crystals.
Well, I would like to do this at the beginning of seasons or the end of seasons or whatever. Day one impressions, what would you rate season 3? Obviously, zombies is...
I'm heavily zombie skewed.
Yeah.
I'm going to have... okay. Zombies not included.
Break down your rate. Yeah, we can break down the rating. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I'm taking out zombies for a moment. Everything otherwise, I'm going to give this season probably an 8.5, 9 out of 10.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm probably an 8 to an 8.5, and a knock on not getting the bow when I thought, which is it's not their fault. I think it's my fault, but I was really looking forward to the bow. And I think at the beginning of these seasons, can we please find a way to tone down the skill-based matchmaking just a hair, so we actually can walk around and enjoy and try the new stuff and not have to use the meta weapons off the rip every single game. I think that always drops it down. I get punished for being decent at the game. It's like,
sure.
So I'm probably an 8. I think multiplayer was a great addition. We didn't really talk about capture the flag, but I thought that was a great play. I hope that goes into ranked and competitive side instead of control, because that game mode's a sleeper. So
the minefield mode sounded kind of cool, honestly, too.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So and then I guess what was I gonna say? There was a new game mode. Well, we can talk about that next time. There was a leaked game mode. We'll talk about that. Hey, make sure you tune into the next episode. It's actually going to tie in. It's going to tie in with the next episode that we do, because I'm not going to reveal the next episode. I'm going to make you come back and watch it. But we got a special treat. And there's a new leaked game mode. I don't know if you saw this, Chopper. It was very colorful, jumpy to the top. And it kind of reminded me of something else from a previous Call of Duty. And that's the hint you'll get. So we'll talk about all that in the next episode. But yeah, I'm going 8. We're at 57 minutes. So, I mean, we were trying to keep these to 45 minutes to an hour. So I kind of want to, I kind of want to do that, to be honest. I feel like we can keep going, but we'll just save it for another episode,
Yeah, for sure. To wrap things up, I will give season 3 overall rating with zombies included, I'll give it a 6.
Yep.
Without zombies, I'll give it an 8.5, maybe even a 9.
I literally am the same way. 8.5. I'm going 8.5.
Yeah. I think that's fair for sure.
So we got short, a quick news. I got to do this more often at the end of podcasts. Make sure you follow Chopper on Twitter, YouTube, CH0PPER.
Sure.
Yes, I had to, a couple times, when I'm DMing, I'm like, why is this not going through? But so follow him. I'm T-Dog. Obviously, you're on my channel, so I mean, you probably know that already.
Make sure y'all subscribe here.
Yeah, subscribe.
Right,
hit the subscribe button. Turn the bell noties on for these things, man. And I want to plug Spotify. We got the podcast up on Spotify. We had a bunch of comments being like, hey, I go to work. Do you have this on Spotify? So it's on Spotify now. This one will be on Spotify very shortly after we get it all recorded and edited up. So Going Dark on Spotify should be first result. Man, I feel like I had something else I wanted to say. Do you have any side notes you want to?
I just want to say, I think from here on out, like, we'll definitely open this podcast up to more broad discussions,
Yes.
like outside of like COD seasons. Like, we can talk about a lot more things. Maybe even bring on some guests in the future too. If there's any guests you would like to see, definitely let us know. And yeah, I think we'll definitely be able to expand from here. And I think we got a lot of fun stuff that I appreciate you guys, coming around for the ride.
Yes. Leave a like on this video, by the way, too. I always forget to do that. I'm always so bad at that. Subscribe, leave a like. But I believe that is episode 2. Next episode, we're going to try to get on a schedule of record on like a Wednesday or Thursday. And then we're leaning towards Sunday as the day it goes out. So you have it Sunday. You can go take it on your car ride, on your school ride, and then work your way through it throughout the week. That was kind of my thought process going into that. So this one's a little bit more time sensitive with the season 3 news and release and all that stuff. So
but we'll have other ones that aren't as time sensitive, maybe just discussing like something in Call of Duty that's not related to what we're doing. But yeah, I think we have some fun things coming for you, and thank you for giving us your time.
All right, folks, we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And episode 3 on its way.
Peace.
Peace.